Hey everybody, this is Wendy. This is Wendy's Parade of Perfume. On my channel, I just talk about the perfumes that I have on my shelf and what I've been wearing and what I've been up to and what I'm thinking and what I'm talking about. I'm really low tech, I am extemporaneous, and today I'm going to talk about rose perfumes from Serge Lutens. Now, one of their perfumes that features the rose is like one of my favorite perfumes of all time. It's a perfume I've actually used a bottle up of. Imagine that. That's a big deal for us. You guys know that, right? So I have five, and I'm going to go in order of when they were released. So between 1993 and 2004. The first perfume we're going to talk about is Rose de Nuit. Now, this perfume is from 1993. It has been in a bell jar for years and years. That is why I only have a decant. The bell jar currently costs $375 for a 75 ml bottle. I did get this decant even a few years ago, and it's halfway done. I think this is an 8 ml decant, something like that. Anyway, that doesn't matter. So the reviews on this, I was very intrigued by this rose because I was expecting like people talk about how gothic it is and it's scary and it's like walking through a haunted house and it's just this almost terrifying experience to wear it. And okay, so backing up a little bit, this perfume has a lot of notes in it. It has some fruity notes like apricot. It has another floral note to go along with the rose, which is jasmine. And it also has a lot of musk, amber, and sandalwood on the base. So those are like the notes that are on paper. Now, what this smells like, it's really rich and it's really deep, but I would not say that the rose is the most prominent. I'm just going to put this down. I would not say that the rose is the most prominent aspect. I mean, you can definitely smell it. It's not like you have to go looking for it. But, first, the perfume is kind of a fruity floral even because of the apricot. So it's like this peachy apricot-y, like bright rose, bright fruity floral, and then it dries down a little bit and you can smell the jasmine a lot more. Now, that's one of the maybe spooky parts of the perfume that I can notice is that the jasmine, it's nice, it's authentic, but it has that mothball aspect to it that not everybody likes. So, I mean, I guess you could think that you're in some sort of old Victorian house and there's a dresser drawer with like sweaters with mothballs in it across the room. It's not that like in your face, like you're sticking your face in mothballs, but it does have that little mothball aspect, but it's not real strong and it's just kind of like an undercurrent. So that doesn't bother me. As it wears down, it does sweeten up a little bit. I believe there's like a honeycomb note. And what this really, really, really for me is a musk perfume. And the musk, I must admit, it's animalic. It's dirty. It's animalic. The base is like a dirty animalic ambery musk. So that's that one. That is Rose de Nuit. I like this perfume, but I never liked it enough to run out and buy the bell jar, which is good. So in some ways I saved a little bit of money by trying to sample it first. And now the bell jars are verging on $400 for 75 ml. So it would be, that amount of cash, I would have to like it more than my favorite perfume, which is Samsara. So that's how I justify those costs in my head. Do I like it more than Samsara? No. Well, then you're not getting it, Wendy. Sorry, it's not going on your shelf. Moving up 7 years later to the year 2000, we have Sa Majescule La Rose. Her Majesty the Rose. This is like the perfect representation of the rose. Some people reading reviews compare this to tea rose from the 1970s. And then I don't think this necessarily smells like tea rose aside from the fact that it's a bit of a solophore. This perfume, oh gosh, it's just, if you want to think of a red garden rose with a teensy bit of musk and a teensy bit of like clove and cinnamon underneath. So there's a tiny, and roses can smell like that in nature. Like roses have a musky undertone to them quite a bit. And lots of roses smell different. Like they're all different genuses of roses and, they just smell different. So I would not say that corrupts the rose at all. I would say that just makes it more, it's more true to what roses smell like. So this perfume, it lasts a very long time, and as soon as you put it on, you are just drenched in roses. I actually really like that. I enjoy that sensation, so that doesn't bother me. That may bother some people where the rose doesn't move on your skin and doesn't really do anything. Now, I've had this perfume for a long time. You can see that I haven't used a ton of it. And I know this sounds strange, but this rose is almost too perfect for me to wear. When you wear perfume, sometimes you want them to like move a little bit or move on your skin. And every time I breathe in, I just have this like wonderful, like rosy experience. You know what I mean? So it's like this, but at the same time, you don't want to stick your nose in a rose all day long. I guess that's the best way I can put it. This is perfectly done. This is perfectly executed. And if you're wondering about like, performance and longevity and things like that, this is one that lasts a long time. All of that stuff is perfect. I can smell it on my person, but it's almost like I need this to scratch an itch once in a blue moon. And when I need that level of rose, this fits the bill perfectly, but I don't need that all the time. I believe this, unfortunately, has gotten moved into the bell jar as well. So I'm glad that I have the old rectangular bottles that I probably got this on Fragrance Center or something back in the day for like $60. So that was 2000's Sa Majesté La Rose, the Queen of the Roses. Moving on a whole 12 years, we have another heavy hitter, which is Santal Majescule. So this has a basic note breakdown too. This has roses, this has sandalwood, and this has cocoa as a garnishing note for the rose. Oh gosh, this perfume is so, at least in this bottle, I've not experienced the new bottles that they're in or the reformulation or whatever. And this bottle is a couple years old. This perfume it's almost too strong for me. And I like really heavy hitters. So unlike Her Majesty the Rose, this actually, in my opinion, goes through a lot of changes. The cocoa and the rose, it almost can smell like smoky and smoldering as it dries down. The perfume is not sweet at all, even though it has a cocoa note. The rose is really strong, and the sandalwood also is just really strong, which I love. I love sandalwood, and the sandalwood like pulses through the whole thing. It smells like a smooth, and it's smooth too. It's not like that cedar shaving or like dusty sandalwood. It is a smooth, sanded plank of sandalwood with like rose petals and rose syrup all over it, and lots of cocoa, while also being a very smoldering and smoky perfume on my end. So this is another one. The reason this is hardly has a dent in it is because I need like 2 sprays for this because I find it to be so overwhelming. This is stunningly gorgeous and stunningly beautiful. If you're interested in that sort of thing, like a cocoa rose, and if you like sandalwood, this is very solid. And I believe this is still on the gray market in the rectangular bottles for a normal amount of money, i.e. not $400. So that is Santal Majescule from 2012. This is my special bottle of, also this, I didn't realize these came out in the same year. This is also from 2012. This is La Fille de Berlin, the girl from Berlin. And I don't always use this one, but I pulled out my special edition bottle for this because that's the paper. This is the bottle. This is not my current open bottle, but I just figured I would have something different for everybody to look at. Now, La Fille de Berlin, this is one of my favorite perfumes of all time. I remember it took me a few years to even track this down. Now it's very readily available, which is good. Oh gosh, this rose is dry. There's a lot of vetiver. There's a lot of geranium. There's a hit of honey in it too, so the honey will sweeten things up. The dry down is vetiver, but the rose is slightly on the metallics. It is both slightly on the metallic side. Some people feel like these are like bloody roses that smell like blood, and that's the thing, I get it. And they also say that it's jammy, and those two things are true at the same time. The rose in La Fille de Berlin is jammy and slightly metallic at the same time. while also being like a billowing strong perfume. And for some reason, I think there's just slightly more going on here. That's why that level of rose does not bother me. Like, I enjoy it. And gosh, when I wear this, I wear like 10 sprays of it. It's probably not appropriate. But yeah, so La Fille de Berlin, it's I don't think this perfume is for everyone, but there's so many aspects to it though. I mean, the jammy slash metallic rose, there's a huge vetiver dry down. It is softened by honey. There's also violets in here. There's also like, it'd be like roses on like a little bit of violet in the background, and just absolutely lovely. And this is also luckily very affordable on the gray market. And I think you can even get decants from this from Fragrance Vent. But anyway, I really, really like this one. This is one of my top 10 of all time. I just adore wearing it. You know, sometimes perfumes that you really like and you've been wearing for a long time, you can't even describe what they smell like. It's almost hard because it's just, you know, they're almost like part of you at that point. So as some of you know, I was on a low buy. I was on a no buy last year and I did pretty good. I have bought some perfumes this year already, which I will get to. But this is from 2024. Oop. This is their latest rose perfume. I don't know why the camera doesn't really like that. There we go. La Fille Tour de Fer, which is the girl in the Iron Tower, which is a lot more aggressive than this perfume actually is. I was so excited to get this. I waited all year, and I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere, but I wanted it so bad. And right in the beginning of January, I just jumped and I bought this. I was almost going to buy the 100 ml, but I was like, all right, well, you know what? You have like 90 million perfumes on your shelf already. Just get the 50. You don't know if you're going to love it. I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't know if it was going to be like the level of La Fille de Berlin. So this perfume on paper does not have a lot of notes. I believe the notes are like rose, iris, just like rose and iris, I think. And this perfume, I was shocked by how sweet and how powdery it is. Now, the rose is very strong too in this. That's the great thing about Serge Lutens is that their rose perfumes, the roses show up. They really do. I've worn this several times, and the rose, though, the aspect of it is that it's not a floral rose. It's a powdery rose. Let's just get that out of the way. This is very, very, very powdery. There's no powder note, but it's powdery. The iris is not as strong as I thought it was going to be. The iris is very, very low key in the background, and a little bit of that lipstick iris will kind of weave in and out a little bit, adding a little bit of like that waxy earthiness to it. But the iris is not very pronounced at all. So this is not a rose and iris perfume. The other thing is, I feel like there is a ton of violets, sugared violets in this perfume. I was out the other day when I was wearing this, and I had admittedly just put a lot on, and I went out and someone actually gave me a very nice compliment. They were like, wow, you smell like roses, but they're not overwhelming and they're very fresh. They gave me this whole critique, which I was very happy about because I don't always like when people comment on my perfume in public because it makes me feel like I'm wearing too much. But they were like, oh, no, it's really nice. And so I had good feedback on it. And I guess it's a good thing. This is a crowd pleaser because it's sweet. It's sweet, it's powdered. I almost want to say that it's on the verge of candied. And while I actually like this a lot, I enjoy wearing it. I don't know if I love it. It doesn't move on the skin and have as many changes as Santal Majescule or even as La Fille de Berlin. It's not as dynamic. I feel like it's an easy to wear rose. Now, not everybody likes roses. Not everybody likes powdery perfumes. But if you're into rosy, powdery perfumes with a very large hit of violet, this would be easy to wear. I'm on the fence because I only got the 50 and I'm like, I'm going to wait a few months and not like run out and buy a backup because I think that perfume prices are going to go up again soon. And then Serge Lutens, they're so unreliable. It's like, first they have this one and then they discontinue it and then they decide to put it in the bell jar. And I can't afford those bell jars. It's like crazy. They're tempting. I was looking at their website and they're just so pretty and there's so many options, but I'm just going to have to deal with what I have. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about the girl in the Iron Tower. Lots of sugared violets, a tiny bit of rose. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. A tiny bit of iris, lots of rose. It's a rosy perfume. It's a dominant perfume. The lasting power is pretty good. Probably lasts like, depending on how much you put on, like a good 6 or 8 hours. It's a crowd pleaser. It's easy to wear. And it's definitely on the sweeter side. And it is powdery. If you don't like powdery perfumes, I would not get this. So yeah, that was one of my buys for this year. I actually bought almost all the perfumes on my perfume list already, plus a couple. Two things are going on. Number one, I have a feeling that perfume prices are going to go up again. I mean, they already have, but I feel like they're going to go up even more within the next coming year. And I was able to put more shelving in my basement with some help, and that is still not enough room for all my perfume. I have 5 like 6-foot long shelves downstairs. I have my bookcase upstairs and that's full, but I just have so much. So while I'm glad I got my hands on even this, I'm very glad I've got this. This does make me happy and I'm glad I got it, but I just don't need to add that much more. And I've already sold off like 10 on Mercari. I'm going through the painstaking process of decluttering, which I really don't like to do. But yeah, perfume is, I have plenty. And I guess that's the other thing too. Some of you I consider to be my friends and we talk a lot. I am probably not going to be able to have a lot of new perfumes that I'm going to be able to talk about. Just because I don't buy a lot of new perfumes, especially now. Everything is so expensive. And there's just the sheer quantity and the volume of everything coming out is just so massive. I mean, I can't keep up with it. Guerlain is coming out with a green rose perfume called Rosa Verde on their Aqua Allegorio line. I will probably buy that later in the year when the new Shalimar comes out. But other than that, I'm honestly just blocking it all out because it's so much. I don't know if you guys feel overwhelmed by how much perfume is coming out, but it is just a massive amount and it's so expensive. I'm just a vet tech and, I don't know if everyone knows this, but we don't actually make very much money. I know everybody's vet bills are very high. I do sympathize, but I promise it's not trickling down to us. So anyway, that was a little bit of a ramble. And for those of you who have sat with me for long enough, I really, really appreciate it as we're working on minute 17. And I always love to read the comments. Have you tried any of these perfumes? What are your favorite Serge Lutens perfumes? Let me know, or just let me know how you're doing and, we can talk about that. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you next time.